What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Christian Nix here, the Barefoot Doctor, coming to you from Medellin. I'm recording this because I had an interesting adventure the last several days. I tried to record this before and screwed up the audio, and so this is take two. Want to talk about the future of medicine and what I see coming. And there's two aspects to this that I want to address. The first is I came to Colombia here in Medellin. This is a world-class city, and I knew coming here that I would be taking advantage of the medical care. And so getting checkups and things like this, I actually had a busted tooth, so I had to get some dental work. Took care of that 2 days ago. And just first class, like really, really excellent care. And the medical tourism industry to Colombia, to Medellin, possibly to Bogota as well. I think probably Medellin's a nicer city, but I haven't spent a ton of time in Bogota. They tell me certain areas are nice, but it's massive. Medellin's like 5 million people, but it feels cozy. Bogota's 12 million people, and it feels huge, and so not easy to get around. And so I booked a bunch of stuff coming here, checkups, follow-ups, dental care, etc. And I just want to cover this for you because I cannot imagine why people in North America in particular, which is where most of my audience come from, but also it's not that different in the UK, Australia, New Zealand. I talked to enough people from my coaching group to know how the experience goes for people. And although I haven't been to those countries to get medical care, nonetheless, right, I hear enough horror stories about wait times and quality and et cetera, that it just doesn't make sense to me that people will continue putting up with that. For us, flying from Puerto Rico to get down here, it's like $200 ticket, about 2.5 hour flight. It's like a long commute, right? You get to Medellin, they took me on the button at 3 p.m. My appointment was for 3 p.m. They picked me up right at 3 p.m. They whisked me into the chair, talked for 5 minutes, shot me up, and then fixed my tooth. I was out of there in just about an hour. And the experience was just first class in every way. Brand new, modern, high-tech, immaculate, very well-appointed dental office, very pleasant patient experience. And then the kicker, of course, is that I getting a tooth fixed in the U.S., if I went to a specialist or some kind of dentist that did the kind of work that I needed, would probably run me in the neighborhood of $1,500 to $2,500, depending on where you live. Like if you're in Miami, you're going to pay a lot for that dental care. But let's just say at the low end, $1,000 plus. I understand if you have dental insurance, which again, let's say you're paying $100 a month for dental insurance. I don't know how much it costs because I don't have it, but let's just say $100 a month for dental insurance. Well, you're still out another $1,200 a year. Okay. My point is the total cost, the total bill for everything that I had done was $115 for a first class medical experience in a really, really high quality professional setting with excellent, well-trained dental technicians taking care of everything, right? It was very comfortable. I hate getting in a dental chair. If you're like me, like I hate the whole experience. I have to say, I mean, as far as going to the dentist, the old saying, right? Like it's like a trip to the dentist. Well, this wasn't like a trip to the dentist. This was actually very pleasant. And they took good care of me. They followed up with me. How's everything, right? Are you feeling all right from the anesthesia, et cetera, et cetera. And so you're talking about world-class medical care in a world-class city that's actually really fun to come to. And it's very beautiful, right? You can see it's very green city. You can see behind me. And just first-class, 5-star everything all the way across for what is that? It's like 95, not 90% discount to what you would normally pay for some kind of procedure like that to repair a broken tooth in the US. So my point is the medical tourism industry is booming, and with good reason. And if you live in a country where, like in Canada, right, you got to wait 6 months to get an appointment while you're presumably suffering because you can't even get in to see a doctor, or in the US where like we have global insurance. I'm almost certainly going to cancel it. Global medical insurance covers you in every country except the United States. I'm paying $6,000 a year with a high deductible to get essentially nothing for that money. And that covers us in case we're in a head-on car collision, God forbid. So, the thinking behind medical tourism is very solid. It's very sound. A lot of people in the U.S. will see a video about Medellin, Colombia, and think that I'm probably dodging bullets from gangsters and drug cartel members shooting each other. But all of that violence and all of the tough times in Colombia went away long ago. I was down here in 2010, and it was already mellowed out by then. There was still ongoing talks with the FARC, and mostly that's in the south of Colombia anyway. And so it wasn't near where I was. I attended a medical conference in 2010, and they had armed guards and soldiers, right, to make the doctors and the foreign medical professionals feel safe. I didn't think there was any danger around us, but right, it was fresh in everybody's mind, even in 2010. That is long since in the past. And so Medellin is a world-class city. I had to do another follow-up for a test that I had done and some data that I had. I tried to get a follow-up in Puerto Rico. This is for a totally unrelated medical condition that I needed to have checked on. I had the original visit with a doctor in Puerto Rico. They said, come for the follow-up. We have a space open for you in September. This was 2 months ago. So presumably, if I have a real concern about my health and I can see a doctor for 7 months, obviously that doesn't work, right? That doesn't, for most people, that's not going to work. Here I saw a specialist. He saw me on the same day, booked the appointment, went to see him in the evening, sat down with me, speaks good English. I speak good Spanish, but they're technical things that had to be discussed. So I had to ask him a few questions and, hey, can you explain that to me in English, please? And this guy spent like half an hour with me. And we got all the follow-up tests and imaging and everything that I need. The total bill is $60 for the visit. I'll have to pay something out of pocket, obviously, for imaging test and blood test follow-up. But even still, it's still roughly a 90% discount to anything that I would pay out of pocket in the United States. And, right, they book it. They're like, you want to come tomorrow? You want to get it taken care of tomorrow? We got a spot for you tomorrow. So there's no wait. The discounts are so deep, it just doesn't make sense to me. Another thing that you should know, and this is not, I don't know if there's stem cell clinics in Colombia. I do know that there's a stem cell clinic and treatment, a world famous clinic in Panama City. If you need stem cell care, you can't get it in North America. They say that it's an ethical consideration, but it's not an ethical consideration. It's a money consideration, like everything to do with the medical system in the U.S. And so very powerful people don't want to have they're not interested in having their rice bowl taken away. And so they outlaw it. They don't want you to do it. They want you to take their treatments, which they can charge you even more money for. So it's not like stem cell treatment is inexpensive, but if you need it, it's almost miraculous what it can do for inflammatory conditions, joint problems, autoimmune disease, right, where the body's really been broken down. It's not a miracle. It doesn't help everybody, but boy, oh boy, right? If you need stem cells and you can get stem cell treatment and it takes, and it's something that really helps you, it's life-changing therapy. And it's not cheap, of course, and no insurance covers it that I know of, although I will check on that when I am down in Panama. But just the idea that you can get medical care in other parts of the world that is radically less expensive, or you can get therapies and treatments like stem cell therapy in parts of the world like Mexico. I know there's good stem cell clinics in Riviera Maya in Mexico, in Panama City, as I mentioned, that you can't even access in North America. Should make everybody sit up and pay attention, because if you need medical care, if you need good quality care and you need it now, and you need to be, most of the doctors you're going to deal with down here are either trained in the United States or have a high enough pedigree of learning, right? There's very few things that you're going to encounter in your journey of health or illness, right? I don't care what condition you're dealing with. You can find specialists here that are every bit as good as anything you're going to deal with in any place except the highest, most expensive level of care in the United States, where obviously the technology is probably better and there are probably specialists who are at a higher level. But nonetheless, for most people, like 98% of what you're going to need is going to fall into a category of something that is covered in a different part of the world. And so my point about the future of medicine is that better care for less when it's convenient for you in another part of the world is just brain dead obvious. And you almost have to be a fool not to take advantage of it. If your objection is like, yeah, but I'm still scared because Colombia is too dangerous for me, you're ignorant. It's just that simple. There's no reason to think that. Even places I go in Mexico, people imagine that you must be, ducking behind buildings and walls to avoid being shot. It's just not like that. That's just not the case. And so, as somebody who travels a lot and has traveled a lot in my career, both as a medical professional, but also because I like my lifestyle internationally, I can tell you that you're missing out on a lot if you're unwilling to jump on a flight. Getting to Colombia from Miami is like 2 hours, right? So you can get here easily from North America. And then the second thing that I want to tell you about the future of medicine, and the reason that I titled this live stream that the future of medicine comes from the past, is the population is aging for a variety of reasons, from highly processed, factory produced foods, to the additives, to glyphosate, and the tremendous influence that the agribiz lobby has on the ability to effectively poison a lot of the food. Genetically modified wheat causing all kinds of gluten intolerance. Most people with gluten intolerance in North America, where genetically modified wheat is the norm, even though it's not accepted almost anywhere else. Europe banned it. It's outlawed in almost every other country. Genetically modified wheat will cause symptoms of gluten intolerance. It is very difficult to digest a genetically modified wheat product. I know this from experience. I know this from talking to patients. And so, for a variety of reasons, chronic conditions are going to continue to skyrocket. There was a little a worldwide illness that shut down the planet several years ago. You're not allowed to talk about this on YouTube, so I won't say it, but everybody knows what I'm referring to. And then the solution, so-called solution to that illness, also created tremendous harm and damage within the patient population. Incidence and prevalence of autoimmune disease have skyrocketed, and everybody's walking around scratching their head, pretending like we don't know what actually caused that. But I know if you're watching this video, some of you who catch this will absolutely be victims and will be suffering the consequences of the decision to trust the medical authorities and trust the science, and to go ahead and line up and get your totally safe, totally effective medical intervention. And so whatever really happened in the early 2020s to create that problem, I assure you that the effects and the fallout from that are very serious. They're very real. And so, again, for a whole laundry list of reasons, the world is up against an epidemic, a true epidemic of chronic illness. Now, in case you haven't thought this through, what I try to do on this channel is to educate people about, yes, modern medicine is a tremendous medical system, but it is largely an emergency medical care system. It's not that they have nothing else to offer, but by and large, the thinking, the philosophy, the medical, what's called epistemology, that gives rise to modern high-tech genetic science with high-tech surgical procedures and pharmaceutical interventions at the molecular biological level, right, where they're influencing your cells and your molecular biology. All of that is based on a thought process and a system of thinking about health and illness that is best suited to treating emergency conditions. So would you rather have a great emergency cancer intervention where they zap your cancer with radiation and poison your body to try to kill off the cancer cells? Or would you rather eat and live and act and behave in such a way that you avoid the likelihood of getting the very obvious cancers that become more prevalent with age? The answer is obvious. It's a little known fact within the medical community that most oncologists, most doctors who treat cancer patients say very candidly that they would not get their own treatment. Cancer docs would not take their own treatment that they prescribe to patients because the treatment is so hellish and so horrific and so awful to go through. And by and large, right, for some people, it can turn out to be successful, and that's awesome. But it's not without suffering. And for the rest of the group, the 80-20 rule here is that most of the people are going to die from cancer anyway. And so the last portion of their life was a miserable regimen of going through poisoning and radiation and all the rest. And the suffering is just off the chart. And doctors know this. Nobody knows it better than they do, which is why they won't take their own treatment. That's a long way from the Hippocratic Oath about do no harm. First, do no harm. In favor of profit, all of that has been kicked to the curb. Okay. And so, is there another approach that helps patients with chronic conditions to, number one, manage and get it under control, and also recover from chronic conditions? I recently posted a video. A guy named Dr. William Lee, was interviewed on a podcast. This is a great, highly trained Harvard doctor. He's an award-winning physician. And his big thing is he's running around the world thumping the Bible about how your body knows how to heal on its own. No kidding, your body knows how to heal on its own. In fact, it's the single best thing you have. And what Dr. Lee doesn't know, although he probably should, is that there's an entire medical system out of antiquity. It's several thousand years old. It's totally easy for anybody to learn. I've put together materials that will help you learn it. And so you can find beneath this video in the description a link to a free video training. The self-healing system that helps your body recover from even serious diseases, anything from acid reflux to IBS and everything in between, as far as digestive conditions go. I don't want to say that you can beat cancer with it, but again, your body is the best defense you have against really serious, hardcore chronic illness. And so you're certainly going to be better off if your self-healing system is not only working properly, but it's under your control. What I teach people in my programs, in my material, all of my material, is how you can, first of all, learn to discover what your symptoms mean, and then learn to take control, like you're pulling levers and steering the ship, right? To be able to manage your own chronic illness. And if your body's healthy and strong enough to actually overthrow and overcome a lot of very, very serious, debilitating chronic conditions. I beg your pardon. Important phone calls. And so there's a free 1-hour training that I've put together. I call this, the self-healing system is referred to in ancient medicine as the pivot. The pivot is the thing inside you that either turns you toward health and recovery, or if it's not working, you pivot toward illness and misery and probably a very early death. If you have a serious chronic illness, you need to know about this system. I did not make this up. I had a really tremendous adventure sort of unfolded in my life where I discovered this ancient medical approach. I apprenticed with a really excellent mentor who just passed away this week. I just received word. I think he was 82. My mentor died, and he was a tremendous figure, not just a great doctor and a great healer, but also a great teacher and a hell of a great guy. He was a man about town and a real card, a real character. And so it's appropriate that I recognize what a tremendous, unbelievable education that I got in the forest of Central America. I took what I learned. You can see this in the trailer video for this channel, but I took what I learned and went and taught doctors at the highest level, including Cleveland Clinic, where I delivered a training, right, that really made an impact. They took what I taught them and they created their own clinic exactly like I told them they needed to do. And so kudos to them. That's what cutting edge medical facilities should be doing. But all of my teaching is really based on, hey, here's how you can heal your body on your own. It's not a bag of tricks. It's not a bunch of new age mumbo jumbo about buying billions of dollars of supplements for the rest of your life, or insane regimens about getting into ice water, although you can do that stuff. I've done it. It's super strengthening to your body. I'll show you how to do it safely. But by and large, right, you need to know about the ancient medical system that I discovered because it gives you the tools. Anybody can learn this. I've taught it to children for how you can overcome chronic illness and chronic imbalance, where your organs are fighting against one another, creating chronic symptoms and chronic misery. You need to learn how to use this system on your own. So there's another link below this. I put everything together as a sort of starter course. It's a broader course. Most of my focus is on digestive health and illness, but I also put together a one, like, this is everything I learned in medicine. Here's all the tips and tricks. You can treat your conditions according to the various patterns that show up again and again in chronic illness. That's called my Nix Institute for Self-Healing and Integration. There's a lot in there that can help you, everything from diet to targeted exercise to remedies and treatments that you can find over the counter, very inexpensive, or to make on your own, herbal tinctures and things like this, and also state of mind practices. When you're sick, you have to get control of your mental theater. And this is very important. This is not about positive thinking. This is about a deep appreciation of what life is about and what you need to do from between your ears in order to give yourself the best chance to recover on your own. The good news is you only have to get what I teach about 10% right, maybe 20% max, because your body knows how to heal. And so I've made those resources available to you. Please check them out. And that's enough out of me. That's what I want to share with you. The future of medicine comes from the past. The best thing you have going is your body's self-healing system. And there's an entire medical system that is dedicated to the patient learning how to heal on your own. And so please check that out. That's enough out of me. Remember, your body does know how to heal on its own. It's up to you to go find the tools. I can help you do it. Thanks. I'll be back with more great stuff. If you like the channel, please subscribe, hit the like button, and please put things in the comments. Do you disagree with anything that I've said? Let me hear about it. Do you know anything about medical tourism in Medellin that I should be aware of? Please let me know. If you have questions or concerns, please shoot me a note in the comments, and I'll try to address them in a future video. Thanks very much.